a live studio audience from the Great Hall in downtown Toronto, AMI presents the Kelly and Ramya Primetime Special. Here are your hosts of today's special show, Kelly MacDonald and Ramya Amuthan.
Good day to everybody joining us for the Primetime Special. LH Express, thank you guys. Ramya and I are absolutely flattered to heck after that. I mean, our wonderful theme song played out for us, Rum bringing us in.
So
Talk
smooth.
about beautiful.
So smooth. LH Express.
You'll hear from them a lot coming up tonight as we settle on back, folks. Thank you for being with us, coming in to be a live audience with us. And those of you who are checking us out via television, glad to have you. I've got the purple shirt on, the black fedora. Rum?
Oh, and I've got my blue jewel tone shirt on and a black pants. Nice to have you all with us here for Kelly and Ramya. We're very excited.
We're sitting here on a white set up here, folks, and we've got a lot of fun ahead. Let's start it out here, folks. We have our producers, Grant Hardy and Beth Deer, and they're going to be testing everyone's knowledge about our show.
I have a feeling they're going to be laughing at our expense.
I think so.
I think so. Also, blind comedian Dan Barra-Berger is going to be joining us for a mini but very special, very funny stand-up show.
So he'll keep you laughing, but also, folks, friend of the program, Catherine Valinka joins us, of Zerkova Vodka, of course, and we're going to hang out and mix a few drinks, folks, a little later on.
And we heard LH Express bring us in lead singer Lucas Haneman, blues band, but they do a lot more than blues, and they're going to be hitting us with their tunes throughout the show, so we're very excited about all the live music.
Since we're speaking of them, it's time to bring them on with their song, Miss McGrim.
Every morning at 7 a.m. makes him breakfast and she pampers him. And Friday evening though, at 9 o'clock, he's across town with his fainting aunts. Heaven knows she's heaven sent. Heaven do away with him. A young man better listen in. Don't mess around with Miss McGrath.
Don't mess around, be homeward bound now. Don't mess around, cause it's time you're found.
Don't mess around, be homeward bound now. Don't mess around, cause it's time you're found.
First in common, last in ground. Smoking hips and a
jacket thrown onto the bed, and mistakes and bombs take the road ahead. Heaven knows she's heaven sent. Heaven do away with him. Young man better listen in. Don't mess around with Miss McGill. Don't mess around me. Homeward bound now. Don't mess around 'cause in time you're bound. Oh no, don't mess around me. Homeward bound now. Don't mess around 'cause in time you're bound.
Coleman comes home, picks up his coat, but from the pocket falls a mistress Snow. Next Friday evening, or so it says, she drops a bullet right through his head.
Heaven knows she's heaven sent. Heaven do away with him. Young man better listen in. Don't mess around with Miss McGill. Heaven knows she's heaven sent. Heaven did away with him. In his grave he still screams with say. Don't mess around.
Don't mess around with Miss McGill.
Don't mess around. Don't mess around with Miss McGill. Don't mess around. Don't mess around with Miss McGill.
Stay tuned. There's more of the Kelly and Ramya Primetime Special after this. Welcome back to the Kelly and Ramya Primetime Special.
Yeah!
LH Express joining us here on Kelly and Ramya. We're here at the primetime special of the show, and we've invited two people to help us keep the show going with a lot of fun, a lot of laughter, and we kind of said, hey guys, do whatever you want, but I might be regretting that a little bit. Beth Deere and Grant Hardy, producers, on-air presenters, they join us a lot on the show. Welcome! Newest members of our team, where do you want to take us? Hello.
Ooh, that's a lot of pressure.
It is.
Hey, I'm Grant.
And I'm Beth Deere. You may know us formally from shows like AMI This Week, Postcards From, and some other AMI original documentaries.
And as of last September 2022, for me, this September for Beth, we have become part of this amazing Kelly and Ramya show, and we really could not be happier about it.
Absolutely, and going from working on shows that are pre-recorded to a live show like Kelly and Ramya has been really eye-opening, excuse the pun. When I first started, I was so curious about what goes on behind the scenes.
There's a lot. I love this fast-paced atmosphere, hey, and working on the live show, and was always amazed by just all the moving parts that are needed to bring it to air and all the people too. We're sure that you're a little bit curious as well. So here's a little clip to show you all what goes on behind the scenes.
Hello, I'm Ramya of Kelly and Ramya. I'm outside right now. I'm actually outside the AMI building. And you know what that means? It means we're gonna go in for an exclusive tour and behind the scenes look at how the show is put together. AMI is a not-for-profit media company that entertains, informs, and empowers Canadians who are blind or partially sighted. Operating 3 broadcast services, AMI-TV and AMI Audio in English, and AMI.télé in French, AMI's vision is to establish and support a voice for Canadians with disabilities, representing their interests, concerns, and values through accessible media, reflection, and portrayal. It's really fun to find out and to share with you how the show is put together, at least physically with the sets. And shout out to the entire team that makes it all happen. So, without further ado, let's find out how we go from the Now show to our own show.
We see a fast-paced time-lapse of the Now set being taken apart and the K&R studio being set up. There are moving purple pillars, desks, curtains are being drawn, lights and cameras are being adjusted. Ramya walks into the K&R studio. There are purple and white pillars, a white oval desk, 2 green chairs, 3 cameras, and a large TV monitor.
Now, there's a lot of magic that goes into the sets becoming from Now with Dave Brown to Kelly and Ramya. And I just host the show and I get out of here, but there's a bunch of people who make this happen. So I'm going to go host the show and you get a behind the scenes look at the personalities and the team that brings it all together.
We see the team setting up for the show. Rum fixes her earpiece while sitting next to Susan.
Cameras are almost ready to go.
Makeup is being slathered all over the face. On to the control room, this is it.
There's Dan, our switcher, Irene, our director.
Megan, our visual producer. Eliza on graphics.
And Caitlin, our audio technician. Hope you enjoyed seeing our behind the scenes, although I do feel like we're forgetting something. Oh, someone. Of course, how could I forget the one and only Kelly MacDonald.
Hello, it's Kelly over here. While Ramya's getting the final touches together on the studio in Toronto and preparing promos for tomorrow. I say, and preparing promos for tomorrow, hint, hint, hint. I want to take a moment to say hello and give you a glimpse of my home studio in London, Ontario. You may have thought I was broadcasting from a big old studio. Think again, folks. Behind me, I'll tell you a secret, is actually a monitor screen. We have a camera here at the studio that allows us to zoom in. Yay, look at that. And even zoom out. Whee! And that's controlled from our control room at AMI main campus. Lastly, here in the studio, the home studio, I got a table right in front of me, which has my typing keypad on it. A mixer off to the side here so I can control stuff from the studio, the in and out, well, mainly the in. I got a mute button, just so in case anyone wants me to shut up, I can click that and do that. And trusty headsets, which rest here on the mixer board at the best of times when I'm not doing the show. Well, I won't keep any longer, guys. I won't spoil any more secrets. Well, I could tell you about, never mind, we'll save that for another day. Thanks for watching and learning behind the scenes of my home studio. Let's get back to the show and catch you further down the page, as they say.
Do they say that, Kelly?
Ham radio, ham radio.
It is so interesting to see what the team gets up to. Obviously, working virtually, I don't get to see this much either.
I've been able to get a little bit more insight recently by doing some co-hosting a few times, but it really is fantastic, and our team does such an awesome job.
They really, really do. With that being said, why don't we get into the main reason we're here?
All right, audience. Are you ready to test your Kelly and Ramya knowledge?
So Grant and I have come up with a few questions for you all to answer, and I'm curious to see how many of you know the answers and get them right. We'll start easy and we'll get a little bit harder as we go along.
So we need you all to shout out. Don't be shy, shout as loud as you can, either Kelly or Ramya. Don't put your hands up, it'll be lost on us, depending on who you think is the correct answer.
Okay, so I feel like this one is a really, really easy one, so please don't let me down, people. Who always says fedoras off?
All right, whoa, Beth, that was a little easy one.
I know.
Who often brings their dog into the office?
Where's Kelly's dog?
They know you well. My perfect dog hasn't been found yet.
Yeah, right, okay, all right.
Next question, who loves Apple products more, Kelly or Ramya?
Oh, wow, very good. Yeah, Ramya is a real techie. I hear she is a big fan of the new artificial intelligence apps too.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. I can relate to the next one very much. Who doesn't like chili? You and me both, pal. You and me both.
Man, thank you. That side of the room, okay.
I feel like this one is a little bit harder. Who always says mind-boggling?
Nobody. Nobody says that anymore.
You guys are real fans of the show. It is Ramya. I remember when Ramya went through a little bit of a phase of always saying mind-boggling, but now, for the life of me, I cannot get her to say the word.
Yeah.
All right.
Good reasons why.
Who has worked at AMI the longest?
Okay, don't remind me.
That's a good,
Settle down.
that is a good question. Like, that's a hard question. I do have one more question that is super, super random. Who has a fancy cheese knife that, and I quote, cuts their cheese into really adorable thin little pieces?
What a quote.
That was a hard one. It could have been Kelly.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one. I think that's one of the first things I ever learned about you, Ramya, when I joined the team, is that you're a huge fan of cheese. Hard question, though.
We're obviously talking about the slang for money.
All right, enough fun and games.
Not so fast, Beth. Sometimes our favorite moments on the show are when we get to laugh at ourselves a little bit.
You're right. I think the crew was forgetting about this, Grant. We've collected some pretty funny moments, so we're going to take a little stroll down memory lane and let's have a look at what we've put together.
To recover.
That's the stuff you want everybody to copy and use for a blooper reel for like on the 27th when we're doing the show.
I'm Ramya Amuthan. Friday on the Chatty Bookshelf, Ryan Hui discusses Banned Booked Week. Booked over time. And we get into quirky stories from around the globe with Globe. One more time.
I'm Kelly MacDonald. Thursday, tune in for part 2 for the deep. I'm Kelly MacDonald. Thursday, tune in for part 2 on the deep dive on air. I'm Kelly MacDonald. Thursday, tune in. I'm Kelly MacDonald. Tune in. I'm Kelly MacDonald. Tune in Thursday for part 2 on the deep dive of. I'm Kelly MacDonald.
I'm gonna make up my own shit, okay? Who cares? We're live 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time on both networks. We're the network with the both channels. Ugh. Do I even work here?
In the program, check out the podcast whenever you get a chance. Subscribe using your favorite podcast platform and enjoy Ramya and what's the show called? Kelly and Ramya at your leisure, ladies and gentlemen. So, Mark, how does this fit your shoes?
You can pry the snooze button from my cold, dead hands. I am a snoozer. I have no shame.
It starts to really show.
Why are you acting like Al Capone? Smarten up.
I've never been good at separating real life from the content and entertainment that I binge with. You never watched Gilmore Girls, did you?
No.
Don't even ask,
Really?
Rob. Don't say, what do you think it's about? Don't even get into it.
Oh,
It's about the are they the cheerleaders from the Toronto Argonauts? I don't know.
Yeah, we were swapping stories over the break of embarrassing things we've done. You know, parents and
guiding and all that. Kels, we both have experiences sitting on people on TTCs, not seats.
Not so much me, thank God, because there's not enough insurance. If I said, it's more when you're guiding and a bunch of you get on and you could sit here, you could sit here.
Oh, like the blind leading the blind?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Totally that.
I've done that as well.
Excuse me, I'm sitting here. Go away.
Actually bought a bed from a dead woman, and when I was living in an apartment. And and I can tell another story where I was coming out of my apartment and the woman was dead and she was in a stretcher, and I banged into the stretcher and knocked it over and didn't know she was dead.
You knocked over the stretcher with
I didn't know it was there, and I didn't know she. She was in it. She was dead, and I didn't.
I feel like we need a moment to process this.
Yeah.
But why do I feel like none of this phases you somehow? You're just like,
it doesn't.
He's so deadpan telling us this story.
That's the life of Bill. Great guys. Thank you.
Beth, Grant, you guys are the best. Thank you so much.
What was that, Ramya?
I said you guys are the best.
She gave
Thank
you
you
a
so
compliment,
much.
Grant. Take
Well, you know what? With a live production, the show must go on no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
matter
and
how many
speaking of the
strange
show
things you say
going
on
on,
air.
I think that's our time up. Grant and I are honored to be here, and we love being a part of the show and the Kelly and Ramya team.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Let's
Glad to
hand
have
the
you.
reins back over to Kelly and Ramya.
Bethany Deer and Grant Hardy joining us.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
We're going to take another break, and taking us out to break, of course, is back with our band, LH Express. This is their song, Not Today.
When the heart is heavy and you've been attacked, too many times jump to push back. Tread the water with your head above stream. Never sink down to the bottom of the sea. Going and going, slowly takes its toll. Where life's flowing, stop before you lose control. When the whole world collides, begging for the time that always fades away. On a road that winds and winds, running your sublime, you got to say, not today. You pick up and drop off on the golden rule. Seems like everything's dependent on you. You're running ragged, oh, you're looking too thin. Like a lonely leaf blown away by the wind. A hurricane's coming, and it's got to be. Better start changing before you're forced to quit. When the whole world collides.
around. There's more to come on the Kelly and Ramya Primetime Special. You're tuned in to the Kelly and Ramya Primetime Special.
So to go with great music, some people like drinks of different kind. And we've got it as we return to the program here on our Primetime Special. Hopefully you came back with us after the break. So we've got a lot to get to. And we have a friend of the show, a guest who's with us today, who's going to walk us through a mixology lesson from Zerkova Vodka, Kathleen Verlinka.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me live and in person. I'm so excited to be here.
Not nervous, right?
No.
Okay, good. That's good. That's good. Let's see what we can do to fix that. Catherine, would you, as Ramya and I always love talking to you about different things. You guys are doing so much always, and we've had many talks about the Ukraine, about the war, about different things going on in the history of Zerkova. Can you share with our audience just a little bit of a refresher before we get into making up some drinks?
So I'm Ukrainian Canadian, born here. My parents are from Ukraine. And years ago, I moved to Ukraine to work. And along the way, we discovered the actual birthplace of vodka. So imagine classical methods, women master distillers, the most extraordinary center cut spirits, and we couldn't believe it. We've really made it our mission to connect Ukraine with the rest of the world through what is part of our culture, toasting, acknowledgement, and vodka.
Yeah, we like
right?
that. Toasting
right?
especially.
Yeah, it's always, everybody's welcome around our table.
Okay. Well, you're going to help us out today because it's that time of the year we do a little thinking, a little bit of beverages at different times, different things we want to celebrate, and there's always that time. You're going to do what? A couple of mocktails for us in one?
Yeah, what's
with a
in
little
front
bit
of us?
Okay, so what we have in front of you is the ultimate classic martini station.
Nice.
So I have got martini shakers, a bar tools kit, and olives. And then I have the next level soda station. And so we've got some fresh raspberries, pomegranate, lemon, limes, because if people are tired a little bit about just soda and lime, let's jazz it up. And then Ramya, right in front of you. I know you've been smelling all of these. We've got the Caesar station.
Okay.
So we have, And you know what? Honestly, this is where we were the first ones to create Zerkova 1 for sipping. Zerkova together is the world's first flavor enhancer. So it'll take anything you mix and make it better. And that's the Caesar. So, okay, so we're going to start. I'm going to try not to spray you.
Oh, let me back off just
so
a little.
I actually, this is my little tool. To make sure I don't put too much vermouth, I've got a little spritzer.
Oh, sweet.
And tell me, what do you think? Do we shake martinis or do we stir them? Who thinks it should be shaken? Who thinks it should be stirred? You know what? It's like
The shakers are louder.
yeah,
I think so.
exactly. So you know what? Let's shake it. And I like the sound of that.
Oh, yes.
My husband, it's stirred all the way.
Oh.
So we're shaking that up. We're adding that to the martini glass, and then we are garnishing with a beautiful olive. And here we go. So this is our first. This is the classic martini. Now, there's no way to make that a mocktail. So we're gonna get to the mocktails in a minute. Okay, so next we're gonna jazz up a vodka soda. I love doing this. I'm gonna take fresh raspberries. So here's some fresh raspberries, and I'm just putting them into the bottom part of your martini shaker. And then I have this muddler. You can use a spoon, or you can use it's a tool that basically crushes the raspberry. And can you smell that? I mean, it's just beautiful, this incredible scent of raspberries. And then I'm adding my ice. Now, people don't know that if you add more ice than you think you should, because it actually does not dissolve as quickly and it keeps your drink cold for longer. Now I'm adding Zerkova, 1, for our sipping, because sipping in sodas. And then I'm just stirring that up. And I'm just putting all of that beautiful muddled fruit, ice, Zerkova right into the glass. And now I'm adding my soda water. So this is, it's like a fruit explosion. It's delicious. Give that a little stir. And there we go. And you can do this with lemons, you can do this with clementines, pomegranates, any fruit that you love. Let's take it to the next level.
Okay.
Now, for mocktails, again, easy, you just don't add the vodka. And again, right?
Yep.
So, and we're very big on everybody needs to get taken care of, because whether you're drinking that night, whether you're the designated driver, let's make sure that you've got something good. Ramya, did you know that Canada invented the Caesar? This is our national drink. So do people know that in Western Canada and Calgary, right? Let me know if you love a good Caesar.
Hands together!
Yeah, exactly. 500 million Caesars consumed in Canada every year.
Wow.
National Caesar Day.
Yes,
My God.
exactly. So I've got a beautiful dressed up Caesar with, that we've already made, but let's make one from the beginning. Now, first things, this is my little secret. I always rim the glass first, and then I build the Caesar in a different glass.
Oh.
So that way,
That sounds
logical. then you have the rim intact, right?
And then half your Caesar is not pouring out of the glass.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now fill your glass with ice.
Is there a particular type of glass that you would use for a Caesar?
Yes, I'm using a pint glass. This is what I like to use. And now what we're doing is we add Zerkova together. Because you have many flavors, you want the flavor, you want it to enhance and interact. Now I'm building this, I'm adding the Worcester sauce, a couple of drops of that. And we're adding our hot sauce of choice. You can add anyone that you love.
What's your hot sauce of choice?
Yep.
I'm using Tabasco. I'm more of a traditionalist.
I was going to say Ramya too. It's a little weaker.
Sriracha? What?
Now we add our Caesar mix. And here's the exciting part. You can go vegan now. You can, the original Caesar mix, of course, has clam juice in it.
Oh, yes.
And so we're going classic.
So it's a clamato?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm adding my salt and pepper. And now comes the fun part. Who here has secret ingredients when it comes to Caesars? Anybody? If you do, yell it out. What's your... Pickles!
Whoa!
I've heard, of course, horseradish, beets.
Oh, my.
Crispy bacon. Oh, I love it.
I thought Caesars were already a full meal. But
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Serious.
It's even healthy, even with the bacon.
We're actually adding barbecue sauce. That's what we're doing.
Ooh,
And
that's
then
the sweet.
you're basically stirring it up. Let's get my little spoon. You're stirring that up. And then you're taking the entire glass. Your Caesar's ready. I'm pouring it into that rimmed glass.
With the ice and all.
Exactly, ice and all. We've built it. Now comes the fun part. What garnish would you like? We've got celery, we have the asparagus spears, we have olives. I've got the extreme beans.
Throw it all in.
I'm
What
gonna
do you
do the
think?
olive.
Eat these vegetables
Olive,
otherwise.
right?
Let's do it.
And of course, you know, you can go really crazy with this.
Oh.
Your grilled shrimp, you can have
Oh,
a
now
slider. I mean,
now
you
we're
could have-
cooking.
you could
Now
have
we're
bacon,
cooking with
you could
shrimp.
have-
Seafood Caesar.
Yeah,
Oh.
the cabanossi, the pepperettes. So we're going classic.
And Catherine, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We've got the celery stick. We've got.
We appreciate it.
Here we
Catherine
go.
Valenka, folks. Mixology 101. All right. LH Express and time, ladies and gentlemen, to bring you for a little bit of comedy as we welcome in Dan Barra-Berger.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name's Dan Barra-Berger, actually, but I won't hold it against you. I am blind. To give you some descriptive video, I am wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, black shoes. I am going to have a spicy night walk home, I guess. This is going to be very interesting. Chose poorly. Yeah, so like I say, I am legally blind. I walk with a white cane, and blindness is, first of all, how many blind people are in the audience tonight? All right. I like the audio feedback. How else will we find each other? It's great. It is an interesting disability because it's one of the ones that people on the street feel like they can just immediately relate to. I'll give you an example. I get a lot of people come up to me and they say like, oh, you're blind? Oh man, I get it. Yeah, like, you know, when it's night and it's raining and it's foggy and I left my glasses at home, it's kind of hard to drive. It's like, oh yeah, that's the exact same thing, man, for sure. We are not the same. There are certain things though that are a little more difficult here and there, like shaving, for example. I can't see myself in the mirror, so what I have to do is I just kind of cup my hand under my chin and I just go with God. It's all hope. I just kind of trace my hand, but the problem is I'm right-handed, so it's always a little lopsided. Luckily though, my partner, one of her legs is shorter than the other, so it kind of balances out for the person who has to look at me the most. So that's all that matters as far as I'm concerned. But you know what? Yeah, and you know, getting like tidied up and dressed up. Clearly, like I said, I'm in a jeans and hoodie, so I dress for the occasion very well. But no, things like going to weddings. That was like, I mean, COVID. I almost said like, yeah, COVID's over. It's not. It's still going on. But one of the best things about it was that we didn't have to go to weddings. I mean, you know, you have to fly halfway across the country and then give somebody a really expensive gift that you wouldn't even buy for yourself. And then you get there and they say, oh, hey, yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for spending all this money. And then there's a buffet. So yeah, there's your food, you animals. Go get it yourself. So that's always fun, and because you know I'm an independent little boy, I'll get up there and I'll go myself, and I'll go. My table will get called. I'll walk up and I'll get my cane. I've got my cane with me, and then I pick up my plate, and then like, well, I don't have a third hand, so how am I? And then I end up having to put my cane between my knees, and I'm doing some kind of like vaudeville soft shoe kind of thing, trying to grab whatever I can, and I'm grabbing like what I hope is food. Yeah, so I grab things, and then I go back to what I hope was my table, and I have to then explain to sighted people what I've collected on my plate, and I have to pretend like I took what I wanted, and so yes, Aunt Meredith, that's right. I have half a multigrain bun and a handful of ziti and a decorative swan. Yeah, that's what, I'm keeping him. His mine's now. His name is Kevin, and he's perfect. Thank you. But yeah, you know, weddings aren't all so bad. I got married last year. Oh, thank you. It's my second marriage, different people. But yeah, this one is going a lot better. But man, I'll tell you guys that like dating was hard. I bet you've never heard a comedian say that. Dating's really hard. Let me tell you all the ways why. But yeah, dating, you know, it's hard for everyone. But with low vision, you know, we get our own set of issues. Like, you know, you have a couple lovely vodka tonics, and you have to maybe pee at some point. And there's nothing really. There's no way around it. If you're in a new bar or something, and the person across from you you've just met, it's like, hey, do you want to go to the washroom? Not for anything lascivious. I just don't know where it is. Can you? But a lot of times I'll go. Well, especially here in Toronto, the washrooms are often downstairs, subterranean, damp, and dark. And 9 times out of 10, the women's washroom is first and the men's washroom is second. 1 time out of 10, I get that wrong. And I know I'm in the women's washroom because of the screaming. Mostly the screaming. And like they start to scream and I start to scream and we both start to pee. It's a whole thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope gender neutral washrooms, they're great. And I hope that helps my blind brothers and sisters out there have a better dating experience than I did. So give it up for Kelly and Ramya, everyone. Thank you so much. That is my time.
Dan Barra-Berger, that's the screen reader, Dan. You can relate. I know it, man. Dan, tell us where people can find you.
Oh, well, you can find me in bars with accessible washrooms all over Toronto. And online at danbarra-berger.com. And yeah, next spring on AMI-télé, I'm a writer for a new show called the Squeaky Wheel Canada.
All right.
Yes.
Give Dan a hand.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk to the band and, of course, scam another full song out of them. After this.
Stay tuned. There's more of the Kelly and Ramya Primetime Special after this. Welcome back to the Kelly and Ramya Primetime Special.
Took her hand and I said town. I wasn't looking truly. I saw your face and you looked right through me. Or so I thought you did. But we locked eyes and then we kissed. Slow rain, hallelujah. Now I made my marble style. Give me love, give me purpose. All the things I've done with life. Please, please, won't you come out the speed of soul? Yeah. I've said the morning down you find me, yeah. Was lost, but now I'm found. Hey, yeah. Sometimes life gets us crazy. Sometimes life brings us down. But right now we're breathing this moment, living and loving everything we found. Oh, living and loving everything we found. Living and loving, living and loving.
All right. LH Express helping us wrap up our primetime special. Lucas Haneman, if you wouldn't mind, walk us through who's all in the band.
Yeah, absolutely. To my left, it's the amazingly talented Martin Newman on bass and vocals. Behind me, holding down the fort, it's the amazingly talented Val Nicavara on the drums. And my partner here on co-lead vocals, the amazing, incredibly talented Megan Lawrence on vocals.
And of course, Lucas Haneman. Tell us a little bit about the band, where people can find you guys if they want to look up things.
Yeah, well, you know, I like to say that we're blues with a twist, you know? We're not your grandparents' blues, but we're definitely blues with soul, blues with attitude. And everyone can find the band online at www.lhexpress.ca.
Absolutely. Well, you know, you guys have spoiled the hell out of us. We appreciate you doing this for us, being our band for the show, for the Primetime Special. We can't thank you enough. Ramya, we've got other people we should be saying a little thank you about.
Absolutely. The music's covered. But how about our team? Everyone who helped us put this entire Primetime Special together. Thank you. And, of course, the facility. We're at the Great Hall taping this Primetime Special, so shout out to this downtown place.
What a beautiful venue, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, mostly, of course, those of you who are watching and those that are here in our audience, thank you guys for giving us your time.
You guys are the best.
Take care, everybody.
Hosts Kelly MacDonald and Ramya Amuthan. Reporters Grant Hardy and Beth Deer. Senior producer Jeff Ryman. Director Nick Appleton. Manager Live Production Paula Deneen. Manager Operations Kyle Harper. Director Programming Lisanne Gagne. Director Content Development and Production Karen Nye. Vice President Content Development and Operations John Melville. President and CEO David Arrington.
Copyright 2023, Accessible Media, Inc.
An AMI original production.